was teaching at Maili Elementary School, I gave my students an assignment I read a poem by Honani Burgess, and they had to recite it back to me. Noheolani Mahelona, 4th grade. She'd been kicked out of Kamehameha school, and she was pretty humiliated. She was in a slow reading group, but she was so Hawaiian. Her hair was almost white, her eyes were green, and her skin was that beautiful Hawaiian brown. Just a beautiful child. And so in one take, she could do this. I'm going to do a Honani Burgess poem. If you think you can do it back for me, raise up your hand. It's called Autumn Lullaby. In her hand, she held a green leaf from her tutu's kukui nut tree. It was large and familiar. Once it was a hat, once a fan, once a plate, once a boat floating her to worlds beyond Ma'ili stream. She pressed it to her nose and smelled the roasted kernels mixed with the kai, the pa'akai, the i'a. She held it up and saw in that green mirror the light, and saw in that green mirror the life that was a part of her, and she began to sing. So kia aloha, hiki no.
Ole.
Any 4th grader can do this? The ability to memorize poems was an amazing Hawaiian feat. And the kumulipo, I think, took 2 days to chant and was held completely in the memory. Of course, they used a trick called linked assonance, where the last word of a line will rhyme with or be the same as the first word in the next line. When I was working as a poet in the schools, I went to Eric Chalk's workshop in his living room on Date Street. And Priscilla Atkins, one of the other poets in the schools, used an exercise based on the book When I Was Young on a Mountain, and she converted it to Hawaii, and it's When I Was Young on an Island. I taught with Phyllis, a teacher at Nanai Kapono, and when she wrote a version of this poem, I heard a song. And so I converted her poem into a song. When I was young on an island, I used to climb guava trees and catch mosquito fish with a guava stick pole and earthworms for bait. When I was young in Waipio, fishing in the stream, eating mountain apples, I hear the legend of the Hi'ilave mermaid. When I was young on an island, I rode my horse Gray Baby, and catching frogs in the lo'i, I got as muddy as the kalo. Ha'ina mai ka puana, hemeli aloha no Waipio. Happy memories with my grandma Dora and my grandpa Sui-san. Waipio love song, hemeli aloha no Waipio. Phyllis Villa when she was a 4th grade teacher at Nanai Kapono Elementary. This last poem I'm going to do for you has been published so many times it's made me $1,000. And it's the original When I Was Young on an Island poem that I wrote from my brothers. I always gave my brother a poem on his birthday. So this was his birthday present one year, written in Eric Chott's Dade Street living room. When I was young on an island. When I was young on an island, my brother caught gray baby sharks on his bamboo fishing pole. When he'd catch a shark, he'd call the other kids and we'd come running with clubs of driftwood to beat the shark to death. When we were young on an island, my brother made moray eel traps out of silver pineapple juice cans and a can opener, the kind that makes triangle holes. When he'd catch an eel, he'd give it to the neighbor cat, and we'd all watch the tiger-striped cat take the eel out of the can and eat it. When we were young on an island, my brother invented the battle charge. He'd wait for a really strong wind to pick up the sand, and just when the wind was the strongest, he'd yell, "Charge!" And we'd run heads down into a zillion tiny bullets of stinging sand hurled by the wind's hand. When we were young on an island, my brother invented the jellyfish test. He was an Apache Indian that day. Tortured, he would not cry out. We caught see-through jellyfish in our hands and held them while they stung us. Whoever dropped their jellyfish or cried out first lost. I remember sinking to my knees in the cool, shallow water and finally laying down, only my jellyfish hand held out.